guys, happy February. I hope everybody has had a beautiful month, a very romantic month, and taking good care of yourselves. And I'm feeling very spry this morning, so I was like, let's do some, let's talk about spirituality and tarot decks and everything like that. So, in books, and I also, I really did want to dive deep in, I'm a spiritual business coach, and I obviously use tarot, and I'm an energy healer, I do Reiki, and I really wanted to focus on not necessarily the business side for this video. I really want to focus on like the spiritual side of things and kind of like a little bit like a check-in with my journey in case this helps anybody else, because like a few years ago when, you know how I've heard some people talk about they have like this one big event and it's like, whew, and I haven't just had like this one big event and then like my whole world changes and nothing, no more awakenings happen. I'm not like, that's not how it's been for me. It's been having like several things, several awakenings over a longer period of time. And each time it's something I sit with for months, if not years now, on just, trying to understand it and just having it like sink into like, this is my new reality. This has changed my perspective on so much. So I want to share some of that in case this helps anybody else out there who is a spiritual, or very in tune with your spiritual self and, or, starting your journey, on your journey. I'm not saying, I have not been, I grew up with, my mother was very open. She would talk to me about spiritual wisdom a lot, but not in a way that, made me, like question other, I don't know what the right term is, but even though I was open to things as a child, it didn't really sink in until after I was, in my 30s. So, lucky or very mature souls that people can be if you have like a big spiritual awakening in your 20s or when you're a child. So, that wasn't my experience, but I will start and say, I don't have the book out. It's the Game of Life, I think. Is that correct? Hold on. I'm going to double check this while I have you guys. It is by, hold on. I think that's what it's called. Is it the Game of Life? You know what? I have no idea. I need to go pull out this book. Hold on. So, yeah, this is, I have the actual individual copy. This is The Wisdom of Florence, I can't pronounce her name, Scoville Shin. I'll show it to you guys. I got this from a used bookstore, but I actually have just the individual copy of The Game of Life, and my mother had given me like these two spiritual books when I was, after I gotten divorced, and she had recommended them to me, and that's basically where it started for me. So yeah, I had already become a mom. If anyone's ever, if you've gone through childbirth, I thought that at that point, I thought that was like one of the most spiritual experiences of my life, where I had come to this, like, I got to this place, like when like my daughter was born, it felt like I had every single feeling inside of me, like the joy of birth and life, and the respect for death and the cycle, and just being willing and the state of surrender. So that was like at that point my most spiritual experience, where I just felt everything. You just feel everything. I felt like one with the universe, and I just felt all this love, and I felt at peace, and I felt like I had faced down so many fears at this point. But after that, so my mother had given me The Game of Life, and the reason why I even just started to read it was like, it's a really small book, and like obviously you see how big this book is, and this has 4 of her books. She is so beautiful in how it's like to the point. It's wisdom. It was like my first real look at law of attraction. I had, not really ever gone into that, in my 20s, and so I was looking at that and reading that, and then at this point, I really got, like, I was really into this book and just all these spiritual snippets, this wisdom, in the book, and just, like, it was helping me look at life and my goals and, like, what do I really want in a totally new way. And it really opened me up to new possibilities for myself. I feel like previously I was like on this autopilot, and through my 20s, I started my first business when I was finishing up college, and it was a logistics company, and I did that for like over a decade. And at this all through my 20s, because I immediately went from like graduating college into starting this business, and I had always tried to be, I guess it was like in a sense like being masculine, stepping into, but not, I didn't feel like, not like a guy. I don't mean it like that, but just like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a boss, this is how bosses should be. And it doesn't matter if I'm a woman, it doesn't matter if I have actual gifts and skills and talent. It's like, I need to put myself into this box. This is how you're supposed to do it if you run a business. I had like all these preconceived notions about how I needed to be. I needed to wear button-down shirts, even though that's totally not my style. Those, corporate, even though I didn't have like a very corporate business, I just felt always compelled to I needed to be this standard, even though it didn't come naturally to me. And I felt like I needed to, just fit myself into something, my round self into a square hole. And I was always just like trying to do something and what I thought was right, what I thought other people, think is the best way to do it. And just always taking, always discounting my feelings, discounting my intuition, and not to be woo-woo about it. I just felt like I couldn't be me as I am. I couldn't accept myself as I am. I had to be different in order to have like a successful business, to be financially independent, to be financially secure. And so I went through all this, and then I read this book, and it just opened up a whole world for me. I didn't realize I had so many self-limiting beliefs. And through this process of just reading this one book, I began to feel, and I've mentioned this before, I began to feel my third eye. And it came on slowly, and this was like my first, at first I was like, what is this? I was like, is this a health concern? And then it would only come up, on occasion. It's like if I was really thinking about like law of attraction, or if I felt like I was really in the zone of like, what are my heart's desires, and what is inside me? So I felt like it was like unlocking things inside me, opening myself up to like, or even like a literally awakening. You feel like, people that have, and this is not a judgment at all, but there's like, if this can happen. This is like how we all can be, right? We are on autopilot. The subconscious is running most of the background stuff. Like you do what you're told, you do this, you show up here, be at this time, you have your schedule, you live life, and bleh. And then it's like, then I felt like I was just, in a very gentle way, starting to question everything. And I was starting to remember things from when I was a child about how I saw life then that I sort of like crushed out, or stamped out. And it was like a rebirth of realizing magic. And I was honestly, this is like through the process, I felt my third eye, and then I started to be able to in a way control how it, before it would just come on, I could feel it. It would like activate on its own. I wasn't really sure how to, like trigger it. And then I was able to, like when I discovered tarot, I was able to, feel it for the, really I guess it's basically like tapping into your intuition, and it would turn on. So, I just wanted to share that. And I don't ever feel my other chakras in the same way. I have felt my crown chakra and my third eye. I haven't like felt the like that tingling sensation like in my other chakras, even though they're there, but I'll just share that. So even though I can I know when I can turn this on now. So that was the first book that really started it. Then I found tarot, and also along this process I started having very powerful dreams. And it wasn't like every night, but there was a few powerful dreams. I remember having this dream, and it was literally like spiritual wisdom coming in, and it was so simple and so profound. And I even told myself, like in the dream, I was like, at the time I was keeping a dream journal, and then I had this amazing dream, and I remember thinking like, I was getting so much information. I was like, but I don't have to write it down. It's so simple. I can't, there's no way I can forget it. And of course, some of it, I remember like half of it and the rest went away, on waking up. But I just, I sat with that dream. That dream right there had so much information in it, and I didn't know where it came from. And a lot of it didn't even make sense until further, like a year later or more. So, yeah, that's like, it's just like, it was like there's like these shifts that started happening, and it would have to like let me, so I didn't freak out. I'd have to like sit with it for a while, get adjusted to it. It's like, oh, I can feel my third eye now. That's a funny new thing. Okay, so that's a thing. Okay, so chakras are real. That's not just woo-woo stuff. That's a real thing, because I had just been so turned off and shut off from, just trying to be somebody I'm not, in a sense of like, trying to be very corporate and very straight-laced and very, just pretend like I don't have there's nothing else in the world. And if that makes sense, like if you're just, just trying to show up and do like what everyone says, and like work hard, save money, have kids, get married, take care of the house, as like kind of like Fight Club style. It kind of, but not as gory. It's just like, there's more to the world. There's so much more to the world if you're willing to like even accept that there's a possibility that there is more to the world. So, and then I had to go seek out a spiritual counselor, and she helped me so much. And this is also during the time of like healing from divorce. And I, went to a kinesiologist. I did about 6 months of traditional therapy. This is like before. It was like I did like the traditional therapy, and then I felt like I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm good now. At least from a traditional therapist sense, I felt like, okay, I'm good on this part, but there's something more here than just me talking about things or shadows, or not shadows, but just talking about my problems. And so I did, kinesiology, and then, found a spiritual counselor, and who also ended up being the person who tuned me for my Reiki. Did my Reiki attunement. But through her, I was able to, kind of get a grasp for, like, what's going on right now? Like, what is going on? Stuff is shifting in my life, and it's just profound. And basically, I was so giddy because I'm like, there's such thing as magic. There's magic, and it does exist. And, it's like, oh, there's magic. And with that, it's like, okay, there's a lot of responsibility here, because also through this time, I began to feel energy. I realized I'm a energy channeler. I'm a channeler. And I just had never even realized. So I'm like, for people out there who've been doing all this, and you probably know all this already, forgive me, because I've been like on a soul search for the past couple of years now. So, but yes, I began to feel the energy. I've been able to, and also I did these beautiful energy healing and tarot sessions, yesterday with two beautiful clients they were really stressed out. So it was perfect timing that I had some time to go help them. And I was in their workspace, and it was just beautiful to be able to connect with them. And because I have been doing, my energy healing on myself, on my family, and it was nice to be able to connect with clients in this capacity, and to feel that confidence, because even sometimes, for other spiritual healers, you can doubt yourself sometimes, and I know it kind of, at least for me, it creeps in. It's just nice to know to find that, get that reassurance that it's not just in your head, and you are doing something, and you are able to help people. Because with that said, I also had, when I had that first dream, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I had been praying and asking Spirit for, I didn't specifically ask for a spiritual gift, but it was basically in that sense. I was just asking. I was wanting to know my life purpose, and wanting to know, there's got to be more than just you know, just running a business. You know, like there's got to be more than just like the everyday managing a business. There's something more. As much as I love business, I love talking business, and you know, and obviously, you know, like I love helping other like spiritual people around their businesses and helping them align in a better way, so they're not feeling like they have to be, you know, all analytical, and it's not just all like, you know, work, 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 and there's no magic. You know, I love business strategy, practical strategy merged with our magical, beautiful souls. And I know it's possible because, and it's like, yes, it's totally possible to do this. But, I lost my train of thought now. So, what was it? Yeah, so, yeah, I had been asking for spiritual gifts. And even, I had already found tarot and Elise from Wild Moon Woman. So this is just like, you know, every few months, like some big thing happens that shifts my world. Elise from Wild Moon Woman, she did this reading for me. It was she did a forecast reading for me around spiritual spirituality. And she was like, I think you're going to be getting a gift, you know, like something else is going to be coming in, not just, you know, divination, not just with tarot, but something else is coming in. And at the time I was like, I didn't even, you know, Reiki, energy healing wasn't even in my like awareness. You know, like I knew it existed, but I didn't even think about it as being something for me by any means. I need my coffee, hold on. And so she was like, something's coming in. I feel like you're going to have more gifts. It's not just going to be tarot. And of course I was like, what is she talking about? And then it was like maybe a month later, well, actually, you know, like through that time, I had been let me take that back. I had been starting to feel the energy, but I didn't. I thought I had been studying. Was it like Frisian? You know, like when you listen to really powerful music and you know, like emotional response comes from you, and you know, the tingles up your spine, the goosebumps. I was having that, and I kept studying about that because I was driving a lot for work at the time, and I had this amazing playlist of music. So I was in my car, I was having these sensations, and then, you know, like over time, like Elise did this reading for me. It's like, you have gifts coming in, and then it progressed to like I could feel it in my hands. I could make these balls of energy like with chi gong, and then that's when I like following that I did my first Reiki attunement. And then it's only gotten more powerful since. And then I will say another book I read, this is Echo Bodine. I have mentioned her. This is a book I picked up at the used bookstore here. And yeah, Hands-on Healing. And it's not Reiki. She doesn't call it Reiki per se, but this is like a book she's written in the 80s. She's still, she has a cool website, but yeah, Echo Bodine. And it was a beautiful little thing about, it's like a quick read for her practice, how she helps, you know, dealing with certain difficult clients, or how to work with people, how to do distant healing, you know, like what were her practices and regarding that, and, you know, like how to accept money for our spiritual gifts, which is super important. I love how there's a quote in here about, you know, you're not charging for, you know, because, you know, some people might say like, how dare you charge as a healer, even though, you know, I've mentioned this before in like Instagram lives, like you know, not all energy healers or spiritual beings live off the dew of the universe yet. You know, I'm striving for the dew of the universe, but until then, I do like to eat. You know, I do love having a beautiful home, you know, and I do want to be able to help people, and I can't help people. And so there's no, you know, like if anyone knows, like, you know, when you do tarot readings, and I'm sure like mediums, or if you're channeling information, or channeling healing, or, you know, light energy, healing energy, it can drain you, and you have to be able to replenish yourself, you know, not just, you know, hydration and food wise, but, you know, with money. You need money to like, and also, you know, in order for you to be able to help more, you can't do it from a place of being like impoverishing yourself. You know, it's not setting a good example for other healers, and it's limiting us being able to help more people. Because like yesterday, I was able to help, and it was so beautiful, and it made me feel so good, and it also made me realize the power of being a light worker and making sure I stay in alignment with, I am a channel, I am a vessel for this energy to flow to. I am not the one doing the healing. I am the one holding space for the healing. You know, like with shamans, you hold space, and you know, you have tools and you do it, but you are not like, it's spirit. It's the, you know, it's God, it's source that does that healing. And just, you know, and being in awe and humbled by that. And gracious appreciation for my gifts. And I did yesterday, I was taking that big heavy massage table up a hill, and it was draining me. I was thinking, you know, it's like I did ask Spirit for gifts. I asked for more. I asked to take on a bigger responsibility, you know, in the world. I wanted to show up in a bigger way, in a more aligned way. And, you know, it's like, and it's so beautiful now. I can see, like, looking back on it, like working in this business, figuring out things, dealing with, like, being a woman entrepreneur, dealing with all the fears, all the sabotages, all the things, all the ways that, like, we as women in business can hurt ourselves that I don't see men do, you know, or at least not in the same way. And I have had this experience. I have been through all the trial and error of running a business. So it's like I bring those practicals, I'm able to bring the practical wisdom of that. But then also it's like, you know, and it's not, my gifts aren't random. After I got my gifts, after, you know, I was 30 years old, my mom told me I have come from a line of spiritual women, mystical women that have had gifts. And so it wasn't random I guess my mom probably thought maybe I was like I was the generation skipped on the gifts. But, you know, it's like as soon as I told her, and she's like, no, this makes perfect sense. And I was thinking, like, this whole time, all through my 20s, I was trying to be this corporate, you know, person with, like, no emotion and just be matter of fact, and, you know, trying to be a leader, but not, you know, like, not King of Cup style, not like a heart-centered leader, but, you know, like I was trying to be a King of Swords, and that was it. But yeah, that's basically what it was. All King of Swords, even though that's not my natural alignment whatsoever. I am probably more of like a King or Queen of Cups, or, you know, with a little bit of fire. I love, you know, the wands. So it was like the earth suits and the air suits aren't my, like, forte. But anyway, also I was going to share with that too, because also to get the ball rolling initially with all these, like, shifts in my awareness of, like, what I'm gifted with and what I'm able to do. And I had a really incredible session with an astrologer who was very, she's super spiritual herself. She actually has really, like, I've had several, you know, I had a spiritual counselor here I go to, and she helped me so much along the path, like, you know, recommending books, even just like, you know, both of these women, they're like, you know, when I came to them and I was asking the different kinds of questions, you know, it wasn't just more like mundane things. I was like, I have lots of spiritual questions now. I want to know more. I want to peek behind that veil. And with the astrologer, I have my sun, Venus, and Mercury in the 12th house, and, you know, that's a magical realm, and I know that, you know, there's lots of negative connotations with that, but I was like, no, there's power here. And also with that, I mean, kids, you know, usually that, like, that house is like a late bloomer house as well. So I was like, you know, it made sense for me, like, being, you know, past 30, when I started to, like, even connect to that side of myself. And I'm like, no, I'm ready to bring it out now. I have dealt with trying to suppress myself in that way. So I'm ready to bring this out now. I'm tired of hiding it. There's no point in hiding it anymore. And so I was like, what does my chart suggest that are my magical powers, basically? And that was really good guidelines and also for you too. I would highly recommend, like, meet with an astrologer who is open to, like, things like that, because I've even since then have talked to an astrologer about past life regressions and, like, looking at our charts in regards to that. And it's like, and I was, like, talking about, like, past lives and possibly as, like, a shaman of some sort, or some sort of non-traditional healer. And I ended up having this, like, no, it wasn't even a dream. It was more like a vision of, like, being connected in that way to, you know, not necessarily, I mean, it could have been like druids, but something of that nature, where it was much more the bridge between the spirit world and the physical world. So it just makes each new step I take on my spiritual path, whether it's a book, meeting with somebody I feel called to meet with, you know, going to that tarot reader, even though I'm a tarot reader myself, right? But yeah, just like whenever I feel called to work with certain people, and it always progresses me, like, it opens up that space just a little bit more, and it just totally shifts. And I will say, So yeah, Elise from Wild Moon Woman, Ethany, and Sylvia Atma from Soul Readings 9 on Instagram. She is, I think, yeah, her website is something in regards to like soul readings, like soulreadings.com or something. I'll link her below too. She just did a reading for me last week, and I'm still trying to like capture all of it because there's so much information there. There's so much she covered, and it was, in regards to my astrology, in regards to like her intuitive abilities, which I can't tell you how incredible. All of those women are, and also Kasia from Tarotmap, who makes those amazing wands. She had done a reading for me as well, and I can't recommend all of those women. Sylvia, Elise, Ethany, and Kasia from Tarotmap. Those women are incredibly gifted, and I'm just in awe that I get to even be in a world where they exist, can I say? And I feel like coming into myself and getting to know myself has been this beautiful, gorgeous experience. It has helped me in the earthly realm, in the physical world, and practical life skills. And there's so much magic. And let me also say, having a partner, if you're married, dating, also if you're having spiritual awakenings, I cannot tell you how beautiful it is to have a partner in your life. Like my boyfriend is so, I'm like, he's not here, but I'm like, right here, here's the avatar of my imaginary boyfriend. He has been so supportive, and I can't tell you, like, I'll just be honest, like, my ex-husband, it would never have, I can see how I never had a spiritual awakening, or I can see how I suppress myself. If you're in a relationship where you're not supported in that way, it's going to I suppress myself. So it's amazing how, because even before I met him, I was having some shifts in my mindset. And then once I met him, we started dating, it just opened up. It just helped. I feel like it snowballed the process of like coming to where I'm at now, and being able to be comfortable being seen in a different light than I have previously, like my whole adult life. It's like, okay, I'm in this traditional business, I do this traditional job, and I do this, and then not even like trying to hide or pretend I don't have an emotional being, a spiritual being as well. But I can't say enough how amazing it's been to have a supportive partner. Not that it's necessary, but I will say it will hurt. It'll probably make it more difficult if you have someone who's not on board with you having self-realization or self-realizations. So, anyway, that was a lot. But with that said, right now I do want to share. I have this book, by the way. I have another book of hers. She was recommended to me, and this book is amazing so far. It's not a really big book, but I sit with a chapter, and it's like, holy crap. And this book was originally written in like 1930s, but Vera Stanley Alder, she has another book called The Fifth Dimension, which I had started to read, and then when I sat down one evening to read it, I couldn't find it, and I pulled this book out, and then I found the other one. So, and then I'm reading this one because, again, like I can feel my third eye a lot. So I don't know exactly. I don't know what it all means. I just know that it helps to get feedback from like working with my energy healing clients. And, I know like the tarot readings are powerful, but it's nice. It is nice. It's comforting to know that it's not, there is a difference I'm able to help make for somebody else in their life and help shift things for them, because, it's like, there's a beauty in finding joy and the humor in life. And I always feel like it comes back to that, like the universe does have a beautiful sense of humor. So as dreary as some ways we can look at life may be, and the trials that we might have to face, and the difficult experiences, there's always this layer of joy and humor and just laughter. And it's like, it doesn't downplay it, that like, if that makes sense to anybody, like there's so much joy and humor. It's like there's just, I guess, the duality of life, right? To experience the joy, you must, be aware and come through the difficult moments as well. So, hi. I just talked a lot, but I just had to share And also I have, in this book as well, she talks about like basically once a year, she has the sensation, and it has different symptoms that come with it, but about once a year, she has experienced a sense of up-leveling and in a way of channeling a stronger vibration of energy to her healings. And she said every single time she has up-leveled, you know, sometimes she gets extra hungry or sleepy. There's always like kind of like different symptoms, but then like she'll pick up like whenever like her appetite or sleep schedule or, you know, things of that nature start to change or, you know, whatever, she knows she's like going through this like incubation time of where she is up leveling and able to channel a greater energy. And every time she gets worried about like, well, you know, she was, in the book at least, she was worried about, you know, what kind of clients will she be able to help? And every time she's up leveled, she always ends up getting a new kind of client that comes in that she is able to help. So not that you can't help everybody, but it's funny, like when you raise your vibration, or that up leveling of vibration that you're able to, you know, channel increases, you're able to help, you know, the right people will find you that need you. So I loved how like the universe, you know, it's like, okay, you're up leveling, you're gonna get you'll be getting new kind of client that you can actually help now. I thought that was kind of beautiful how that worked. And yeah, again, not being afraid to make money. I know that's like a whole other topic, but it is okay. You can be in high integrity with yourself and with your customers and your business and still make money doing this. Even if some people think it's woo-woo, even if they think it's not real, even if you think it's, you know, whatever, if you know you're making a difference and you know, and your clients feel like there's a difference in their lives, like, I mean, that's good enough for me. And even yesterday, like the things I see when I'm doing an energy healing session, one of the clients was, she felt and saw similar things to me. I don't always see exactly what the other person sees or is going through, but I know like what it feels like for me to make sure, like, you know, is the energy seeping in, you know, that feeling, or, you know, like, is it able to go in, or how's it working? How does this chakra feel? So it's funny how that can mirror and reflect back. So, and then just from a practical standpoint, I grabbed this book. I've seen a lot of my, I'm in a couple of Facebook groups with other women entrepreneurs, and everyone was talking about this book. So I was like, okay, what's this about? But it seemed like, so far, it seems like it looks like a pretty quick read as well. We like quick reads, right? It seems like a very practical viewpoint in how to view money in your business. And I love, like, you know, profit first. Like, why are you in business? To make money, and not just have it like the idea that like the traditional viewpoint is like, all right, make, you know, sell as much as you can, whatever's left over after you pay all the expenses. Okay, there's your profit. It's like, no, it's like putting profits the priority, and then everything else. So I just started it, so I don't have any, I don't have a good review other than I just saw lots of people recommending it. So it seems like to be, I'm on the bandwagon at the moment. So I was like, let me just see what everyone's talking about. And then let me share some of my favorite spiritual decks right now. The Sacred Rebels. I've seen some, I think like the Least Remarkable Woman, she didn't totally resonate with this, or maybe if it wasn't her, somebody else was talking about like it wasn't resonating. But let me tell you, I mean, maybe I'm just in the right place for it. It's totally resonating for me. I got it in a trade. And I love Alana Fairchild's decks. Isis. Oh, that's another thing. I dreamt about Isis. Isis came to me, and that was like that's the only time I've had a deity like come to me in a dream. But and it was like so like real. It was so real. But and she's beautiful, by the way. I mean, obviously she's gorgeous. You know, she's a goddess. But it was the energy of Isis in my dream was like the most mothering. It feels like probably Mother Mary. Even though I guess they go together, it felt like, imagine like what Mother Mary must, like what her, that strength and that love and that pure love, and just, it was just beautiful. But anyway, yeah, so Sacred Rebels, this has been amazing for when I've read for clients so far. I got it, I guess last week, but I've already used it for clients and for myself. It has been on point. On point. It's been just one card is all I've needed, and it's been amazing. And also, I mean, I still pulled these out. I'm using these right now for my altar, the Lightworker's Oracle, Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. This has been amazing. Honestly, I blew myself away. I had the Wild Unknown, so I had an astrologer do a reading, And it was basically saying like it's time now for a past life regression, which I have not done in a traditional sense yet. I haven't gone to somebody, but what I did do, like literally after that reading, I did like just a meditation around it, and I found a lot of spiritual truths, and then I did just spiritual confirmation around it, and then I did a reading with the Wild Unknown and a Lightworker's Oracle, and literally like past life activation came up. I was like, oh my God. And then the Wild Unknown blew me away. Just 3 cards around the past life stuff blew me away. And then the Mother Mary, I've been using this for my Oracle, and this has been, I told you when I first got it, I cried on the first card, and I was just like, read the message, I was like, blubbering. And I've been using this as well for the altar, just 1 card pull. And the first 3 weeks, I kept pulling the same card, and I was like, what is going on? And of course, the energy was right. Those 3 weeks, the energy was totally right. It's like me, see if I'll show you this guy. But I do recommend, Sacred Rebels. I didn't pull them out, but so beautiful. And at least from All New Women said this deck has helped her a lot. Oops. So I find, I haven't used it for others, but, sorry for the glare. It's going to be annoying me, isn't it? But, let's see. I've had this one come up. And this one. It's so beautiful, and I love it. Also, in case anyone saw Elise talking about how she, like, at this point in her spiritual journey, she isn't feeling called to call in deities or work with a specific deity. How does everyone say that? I loved her saying that, because I have gone through phases, and I felt like, oh gosh, it just resonated with me that it's like everyone wherever you're at on your spiritual path, it's like, I've had that problem where I'm like, I've had this big shift, and I want to tell everybody, and I want to be like, this is real, this is a reality, and I feel like, no, that's me, that's my perspective, everyone else is on their own journey, so it's like, what's real for me doesn't have to be your reality, and you probably wouldn't necessarily want it to be either. I just want to share what I can, if anything resonates for everybody else, and share the wisdom I have gained on this journey so far. So beautiful. I was trying to find, oh, like, look at that. So I do love this deck. Yeah, this is the card I had for basically a month, a quiet blossoming, and it was so true. So, one more card. Such a beautiful deck. And you guys know that Earth Warrior Oracle is coming out, right? And then I've been using, hold on a second. Sorry, I had a phone call from my amazing brother, and but when I was about to come back on, I was checking Instagram really quickly, and the most beautiful, this is from Oracle of Your Soul. They post some amazing stuff here. I'll show you the image, but sorry for the glare. But in regards to like what I was talking about with spirituality, is be gentle with yourself, for you are living through a major expansion of your faith and how you use it in the world. You are rewiring decades of old beliefs and shifting how you live your life. This is no small feat. It is okay to feel uncomfortable. Great change often brings with it discomfort and second-guessing oneself. Do not shrink back from this mission. Not now. You are changing, and your divine self is shining the way. Oh, it is so true. It can get overwhelming, which is why, like, anyone who's had like one massive awakening, whoa, because it's like just even all of mine, like the sense of up leveling, of being, because I've we're talking about with Echo Bodine, talking about the up leveling. I have experienced at least. Definitely one, like, where I have felt like I have reached a new level for vibration, for channeling, but I've had a couple of other instances too, and also, let me say, this is, Animal Spirit is another deck I've been using for my weekly altar pulls, and we all know how beautiful this is, but I will show it while I talk about the shifts that can happen. So, I did really big spiritual Phoenix, this is what it felt like. So the last like big meditation I did, because I don't always, you know, it sometimes feels like the stars have to align, and I just like, you know, it really, everything clicks, and I can get so much divine information and wisdom. I ended up releasing a lot. And it was one of those things where I was like, I don't feel like I have anything to really release. I mean, I know I have a, you know, I know we all can use healing and, you know, healing and feeling whole and comfortable with ourselves and accepting ourselves. But I didn't really feel like I had any specific things. And then the last time I connected to spirit in a very powerful way, it was like, oh yeah, you do have. And the thing that came up for me, and this is something I would never have like said, oh, I have a problem with this. It was a feeling of shame, and it was in regards to like past life meditation. So that was something that did come up. I love this deck. But I just want to say, for even if you are like, it's like, man, I'm trying to do the right thing, and I know I am hard on myself the most. So like, you know, anything that's ever like happened to me, I'm always, you know, of course you can be mad at other people about things and like trying to come to terms with that forgiveness for others. But my thing has always been myself. I am so hard on myself. It's like if someone's mean to me, or if something has happened, and it's because I must have done something where I should have been able to prevent it. But I don't come at it in a compassionate way for myself. I come at it from, I should have known better. I should have known. I should have known. I should have known. And it's like going easy, like just releasing all that kind of baggage. I love that. And accepting oneself, accepting that, like, you know, if you've had difficult times in your life where you felt like you were taken advantage of or walked over, or you weren't stepping into your own power, you feeling like you were a victim, or you were treated less than or not respected in how you know you deserve to be, it's all just meant to help you have compassion for yourself, compassion for those other people, for the situation, for the circumstances, and then knowing it's okay. It's okay that you didn't do it the way, like, it's like knowing the beauty, the silver lining is like knowing like what you did that you could have done. Knowing what you can do the next time that happens because you learned from it. You know what it feels like when you give up your power, or when you don't set up a proper boundary in personal, business, you know, whatever. Ooh, beautiful Empress. So it's like going easy on yourself and taking like those hard-earned, hard-fought, hard-won lessons, and allowing that to be that. And it's okay. It's okay. You had to fight for that experience and get the wisdom from it. But it's okay. Please don't beat yourself up. Like, if anyone, I was holding in so much shame around it, and that was never a word. Like, I knew like. I get like anger and resentment, and you know that feeling of lack of self-worth, and the shame was my block. Or at least recently, it was like, whew, I offloaded a ton of like just nasty shame. I was like, oh, I felt so much lighter. I felt so much better after. So I'm just showing this whole deck. It is so beautiful. I do like this. So for a weekly altar reading, I have not really pulled this out a lot for others. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just, just because I don't feel super in tune. I mean, I love animal medicine. I love the animal medicine cards, that book. I just don't feel like, I guess like I'm not ready yet to bring it in for others. On that level yet. And then, so that was, those are like my weekly altars that have been really good for standby, or, for helping on a weekly basis. And then the Aura Soma, this is for, the spiritual readings, and everybody knows how beautiful this deck is. But, I don't want to show you all oh, look at that, 2 cups. Look how beautiful. 3 of Wands, look how beautiful that is. It's all these 9 of Cups. So this is a very good for spiritual decks. I do recommend this. I love the Alana Fairchild. If there's an Alana Fairchild deck that resonates with you, I love I don't have all of them, but like every single one that I do have has been beautiful. I'm at the moment not using the Isis Oracle a lot, but that was my standby for like almost a whole year. It has been so good. And then obviously the Star Child Tarot. Such a beautiful deck, especially for energy healers. And the same with let's see, Elise was the one that recommended that. So yeah, Aura Soma and Star Child Tarot for all of the energy healers, and for, I mean, not just that obviously, but here, let me show you. I'll show you which card comes up for me all the time. But where is that? Oh God, I love this Eight of Cups. For Reiki healers, energy healers, spiritual, soulful entrepreneur. I mean, not just entrepreneurs, but if you are doing some sort of practice where you are helping, you're of service as a light worker, definitely. If you're a light worker, there we go, light worker, and covering any spiritual healing modality, this is a deck for you. But not just that. I would recommend this for anybody. Oh, and I did have the most beautiful Marsha. I had somebody contact me. They're not on Instagram, but she contacted me on my Etsy account, and just to tell me that she got this deck finally. It was a gift. Someone sent it to her, and she said she knew how much I love this deck and that she had to let me know. I like damn near cried. I was just like, that is so beautiful. I love connecting to other soulful, beautiful people. It's like all the people in this community, all the men and the women, all of you amazing. It's gonna make me tear up now. It's just, yeah, there we go. That's what that feels like. It's just like I'm basking in the radiance of all of you amazing souls. But yeah, I had a shout out Kasia from Tarotmap. She is like my favorite Sagittarian. She is she inspires me on so many levels, and it's like all of her videos just made my wish list for tarot decks. Like, I was like, don't watch her. It's like, if you are prepared to increase your wish list, watch at your own risk. See what I mean about the energy channeling, which, by the way, I can tell you, since really starting to channel a lot of energy, my posture has gotten so much better. Like, people are like, when they see me, especially in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is another thing. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has helped. I felt like it helped physically unlock the blockages for chi to flow, which I know is as Kung Fu Panda as that sounds, there's something to that. And, obviously yoga too, right? Or I haven't tried Kundalini yoga, but it's something like what I imagine Kundalini yoga probably helps with as well. Oh my God. I need to pull this deck out. Holy crap, this is beautiful. Oh, excuse all that noise. Okay. I was trying to show you guys this. Oh, here we go. So look at this Hierophant. I mean, you tell me, energy healer, light worker much, right? And she's coming out with the Moonchild deck really soon. So beautiful. Here's another one. I mean, this is exactly how the energy balls feel. For anyone who makes chi balls, this is totally what that is to me. Look at the Empress. And Queen of Cups. All the cards. I love the finish on these cards too. So yeah, I had someone, the most beautiful soul reached out to me, and she showed me a picture of how she stores her deck. She got this most gorgeous box, and it's wrapped in silk. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if I could do that for all of my favorite decks, oh my God, I would have to have so many boxes. But I just thought it was so beautiful to see someone, reach out to me with that. Oh, it's just like, oh wow, it's so amazing. I was going to show you guys. I love this Queen of Wands. Yeah, so as of right now, I'm channeling King of Pentacles energy. Sylvia did a beautiful, Sylvia, from Soul Readings 9. She is amazing. If you're needing to cover a lot of ground on a lot of different, in all the ways you can, she's intuitive intuitive reader, life coach, powerful stuff, so powerful. I mean, she knows it, but I just had to share how mind-blowing it was for the things she told me. I was like, oh my god, and she it was just amazing. I cannot find, here's one of my favorite cards in this deck, Transformation. So Egyptian. Look at this. Sorry, tell me, there's the full, look at her energy channel. I'm looking, here we go, King of Crystals. There we go. You tell me Yeah, right? Lightworker. So, one of my favorite decks for this, yeah, so like Orosoma. Obviously, every deck you can use for spiritual stuff, but you know, like the feel of Star Child and Orosoma, how it just, it's still practical, but it's still, there's something there to it. There's an extra layer of just, you know, the messages that come through are just amazing. And then I was going to show you guys Crow's Magic. I just got this. It's a little, here, I'll show you. This is an older deck. I got it in a trade as well. I did a couple trades last week. It's it's like 1998, and it's out of print now, but I think you can probably still get copies. I know it's digital artwork, but there's something very primal and hyper or multi-dimensional about it, and it does come with keywords. And it has like, you know, decent card stock with it, but it does come with a book. But yeah, Crow's Magic, and it's like the backing. It's just been it called to me, like someone was like, hey, are you interested in this deck, you know, for trade? And I was like, and I looked it up really quickly, and I was like, wait a second, what is this deck? This is quite enticing. So I love that King of Cups. So it's got unusual keywords, but it does resonate. And I have a 3-card spread I did around me as an energy healer and a light worker yesterday, and it was like, whoa, you know, it kind of blew me away. So it's very unusual and different. It's got this Egyptian modern retro feel to it. It's dark, but I love all the birds. It even has a pterodactyl in one of the cards. And it's just there's something very into the void with this. It's very multi-dimensional, it comes to mind. It has a lot of unusual symbols that I just like, I felt called to it, so I just got it. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to study this. This looks enticing. Oh, sorry. So, there we have it. Yeah, so that one was another one. And not necessarily, obviously, like Orosoma, or Star Child, but I thought this was really fascinating in a lot of ways. And then, again, I have been using my Lumina deck. I won't pull it out, but Lumina has just been outstanding. And I just got Ethany's Bad Bitches Tarot, and I have loved it. It has been so good. It's so inspiring. I've been using it every day for dailies. I haven't used it for others yet, but that's okay. I just got it, so I was like playing around with it for myself, but I love it. I love the fashion of it. I love these women, and it's so, I mean, look at this tower. I like how, like, literally, I love I'm like, I want their wardrobe. It is so much fun. So Ethany did I thought this is really well done. And even like the cardstock and the rose gilding and the backing. I mean, yeah. I was like, I don't have anything to hate on it because it's just so amazing. But I will say, I was like, I always see the Empress as a little bit more, I always see the Empress as like, she's the defender and the nurturer of, you know, she is the woman who, you know, is like the grizzly bear for her family. You know, she will do anything to protect her family, but then she's also the nurturer. So she's the one that's got the garden. She's the one that nurtures the earth, but she's also the one that will kick your ass if you do anything to hurt her family or her, you know, her well-being. So the Empress is not soft to me. You know, the High Priestess, yes, she's mysterious. She goes in between the veils, between all the worlds. But the Empress, she is earthy, and she will kick your butt if you do anything. She does not mind defending. That's how I see the Empress. You know, it's like, that's my birth card. So I'm like, yeah, she doesn't take no shit. It's like, you think like a Mother Earth type, you know, it's like, yes, you can be free-flowing and wear, you know, flowy dresses, but then when it comes down to, like, you know, you will do what you have to take care of what's yours and protect. But yeah, either way, this deck is so much fun. I do love it. It's like a fashion spread. It's so beautiful. And with the Sun card, it's so good. It's so much fun. I like how simple and minimalist it is, but it has like all the things I need. I love Ethany's flair too. And she has a guidebook is broken up by, it's called like boudoir, like business and bank, I think, or it's like, yeah, but romance, business, and career, and money, and if it's blocked. And look at this, it's so pretty. So anyway, I've been having fun with all those decks and those Oracle. And can I say I have brought back out the I Am Power deck. I had it. When I moved a few months ago, I accidentally left it, and now it's back. And I freaking love this deck. I love it so much. And I have a bunch on I have a couple cards right now on my table right here in front of me. Is like my mantras, but everyone is abundant. Yes. So I Am Power deck. This was like one of my first, when I started to really branch out, and I was like, I have to have that deck. And then I can't say enough about the color Gypsy. I know I saw Elise pulled this out for springtime, but this deck has been a standby. And Sacred Creators Oracle. I don't have it out at the moment, but that one, I've also been using that for a weekly card pull. But I use it a lot for others as well, so I end up having to like pull it off. But I still like seeing like my weekly energy from it, but look at this deck. I know mine got beat up. I tell you guys, I do shuffle hard, so you know my cards are just going to get more beat up than normal. You know, probably than like the average person. But sorry, but I do love this deck. I don't mind if it's got this worn in feel. I'll buy it. This is one I will buy a second copy of if I ever needed to. So, so there we go. So if anyone, yeah, and just to reiterate, so I know this has been a long video. I hope everyone has had a beautiful February. I am still doing free mini sessions if you are interested around spiritual business coaching for you and your business to help you in any way that I can. Obviously, like dealing with like confidence, being able to price yourself, how to market, helping you get focused and get a really good strategy that is aligned to like what you're able to do and to help bring out the best in you as well. But really just to help support you on your journey, because it's like, if I can do it, if I can run a business and start a business and manage a business and deal with large sums of money, I was like thinking like even at like the big peak of my business, I know I was like having to deal with like a lot of money like every month and like manage that. If I found a way to like, I was like thinking like, I ended up, it's funny how it's like, even if like I was making about $30,000 a month with my first business at one point, and then I realized like how little the profit margin on that, even though it's like, wow, you're making $30,000, but it's like profit margins are important as well. So I ended up like cutting out some customers that were no longer a good fit, and then like reducing like the overall overhead for the business reduced, so the profit margins went up with less money. So it's funny how like that, like when people say, oh, you can have $1 million business and be paying out $1 million in expenses. So it doesn't necessarily, it's like money, the amount of money doesn't matter. It's like your mindset around the money. So if you need help with that as well, I'd be happy to help you, because it's not all about the numbers. The numbers matter, but it's like how are the numbers adding up at the end of the day? So either way, I'm just saying, if I've been able to do it, trust me, I can help you as well. So, but if you are interested in a mini session, I'll have the link below. And then also, if you're just needing a general tarot reading around you or your business, I have those as well available. So I love doing really big spreads, especially around the entrepreneurship and anything that you're like trying to create or start. I would be happy to help you, or to get in better alignment with. So for adjustments. So everyone have a beautiful rest of your February and a lovely weekend.